Hello and welcome to the Recon Cast, a weekly topic-based podcast show that is recorded in one go and split up into 3 topics and posted Tuesday through Thursday, with a compilation going up on the Friday, and will be featuring myself and one if not both of my sisters, Louise and Vanessa, and within which we are going to discuss all sorts of things from games, movies, TV, popular culture, to the sort of silly stuff you might talk about with your mates, like zombies or time travel and such shenanigans. So, if that sounds like your sort of thing, then sit back and enjoy. 4, 3, 2, 1. Topic 1. Do you believe in life out there in the universe, be it simple or intelligent life? And if you do believe in intelligent life, why do you think we haven't seen any signs of them, or why haven't they been in touch? So, basically, first off, do you believe in life out there in the universe?
Yes, I do.
I want to believe.
You want to believe?
It seems likely. That was an X-Files quote.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, of course you got it.
I wasn't born in a cave. But, yeah, so what sort of life, do you believe in intelligent life out there in the universe? Or just simple life? Like,
I believe there's intelligent life out there. Like, I think, without saying it sounding a little cray-cray, I've seen a couple of things that made me believe that, you know, maybe that we're not alone.
Yeah, but drugs are bad, okay? So
Did they take you in your spaceship?
Yeah, I had
give you a probe.
Did you get the bad touch?
You're just begging. No, I did not. That was not
Show
how the story
the
happened.
jury on the puppet where the aliens touched you.
You wish you could, Nathan. That's the problem.
That doesn't
You
even
must be
make
whisked
sense.
away by an alien.
Anywho, yeah. So basically, I think it's all like it's in my mind it's incredibly arrogant to think that we're the center of the universe and that there's no other life out there, no other intelligent life. It's just us. And if that is the case, the pressure on our shoulders to, you know, we are life. If we are life in the universe, oh God help the universe. Do you know what I mean?
That's probably why they haven't been in touch, because they've seen us and gone, well, give them a few years, they'll destroy themselves, and then we'll just, you know, pick up the pieces. And it's probably why we're, you know, with all the like Prime Minister that we've got and stuff, and I think it's a perfectly good reason why they've just left us to it.
Yeah, for me, I think the reason why they haven't been in touch is based on like the zoo hypothesis or whatever, where it's kind of similar to like the Prime Directive from Star Trek. They don't want to mess with us until we've reached a technological and like social, like societal level, you know, whereas either our technology's got so good they've got no choice but to interact with us because we're going to be, you know, up in their grill sooner than they'd like or whatever, or we've socially and society, like as a society, come to a level where, you know, they want to interact with us. So, but then again, it depends on what sort of variations of life they are, because it's like if we're so far down on the totem compared to them, we're going to be like ants to them. And it's like, I don't know about you, but last time you saw an ant colony, did you go up and try and communicate with any of the ants and ask them, you know, what they think about the universe? You know, it's
Ask them
not
to share their secrets.
well, you know, even to be like, oh, hi Mr. Ant. I mean, you might say that, but the ant's going to be like, well, what the fuck? So I mean, that's another thing, that's like another hypothesis, that they've been sending us like responses or saying hello, and we're just so too dumb to understand what, you know, what those signals are. So possibly, you know, they're just
I read
going
about
over our
something
head.
in the newspaper today about they're planning on sending tiny satellites, loads of them out, to the Alpha Centauri system. Have you heard this?
Yeah, well, I've been looking it up for my Friday news segment, and that's one of the ones. It's probably going to go in tomorrow, but we can extrapolate on it here. It's fine.
It's pretty interesting. They said they're going to be roughly the size of a stamp, but attached to like a huge parachute.
Yeah, is it a stamp? I heard mobile phone, but
very
I'm not
small
sure.
anyway, that will kind of send data back. They said it'd take roughly 21 years to get there.
Yeah, I think I think it might be 25 or something.
But that
they
said, there's nothing to say that it's not transmitting data along the way.
Oh yeah. Well, what they're doing is they're not going to do one because like these satellites or whatever it is, these drones they're trying to send, they're
They're going to be delicate,
fragile. I think it was something weird like the solar cell that's going to spread out that you were saying it's kind of like a parachute. It's more like solar panels or whatever you would on a spacecraft, but made out of like a flexible material.
They were talking
But
about
I heard
guiding it and propelling it with lasers.
Yeah, from the Earth. That's why it has to be so small. But I remember I don't know what it was, but I was reading it. It's something like it's going to be like 3 microbes thick or something ridiculous. So it's going to be incredibly thin. This solar cell or whatever it is. So, but yeah, they're supposed to send out. I think they're going to send out like 1,000 or something, and they're going to send them not just all to this Alpha Centauri. I think they're going to send them in different directions. But it's a case of like if any micrometeorite hits, that it's the shotgun approach as opposed to putting all your eggs in one basket. But
it's called Operation Starshot, I think.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea, isn't it? I think I forget how fast it is, but I think they're going to be going a fifth the speed of light, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's not confirmed per se, but they've got loads of scientists on board, and they've put up $100 million, or this collective
Russian
or whatever.
Tycoon, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, he's probably one of the biggest investors. Yeah, and they're going to spend 20 years developing the technology in the hope that in 20 years' time from now, they'll have made a deal with NASA or whoever, or SpaceX, some private company, and they're going to send these up or whatever. But they think, like, going on the numbers they're trying to work with, it's unlikely that it would reach its destination within it'd probably take about 40 years or something, they were saying. So we might just see it in our lifetime. But I don't know how much of a signal we'd get back, because I don't know how long the signal would take to get back. So because it takes a while to go from like Mars, but to go from another solar system, how long that would take? It probably take a couple of years to be able to receive that signal back.
It's pretty exciting stuff, though, isn't it? And
yeah, it's cool.
I mean, if you're talking about alien life taking interest in us, the fact that we're beginning to reach out is positive. Like,
I have a physical, appearance out there as opposed to just like radio waves and stuff, because radio waves might be completely archaic to them. It might be the equivalent of two kids with a piece of string on a couple of tin cans each side to them, so they might not even use radios, so the likelihood of them detecting a radio signal. But if we're starting to get out there a little bit, it's a further reason for them to take interest. But we just better hope that interest is good, and it's not like
Mars attacks.
Not men in Mars attacks. Well, that's kind of comical. We might get away with it if they're all like. But
I think the answer to that one's country music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But if it's like Independence Day, where they decided to take a fancy and they want to eat our brains, or give us anal probes and whatnot.
That's it. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? You never know who you call in.
Exactly.
It's like the chat roulette. And you know what happens on chat roulette?
Bad stuff.
90% chance of someone flashing you, basically.
Do you have much experience with this, Louis?
I've just heard about it.
Maybe this anal probe thing is stands up a bit more than if it's all sexual in nature. Maybe they're just coming up to get their kicks off or whatever.
Well, think about it. If you've been in a tiny little spaceship for 20 years, you get a little lonely.
Exactly. You might get a bit bored and feel like you need to indulge it with the natives. So.
I've seen Star Trek. I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah. I think it might be against the Prime Directive, but yeah. But with that, speaking about aliens and UFOs and all that, we've seen a UFO, me and Louise, when we were kids. So for me, that even more, makes it, well, we've seen a UFO, so we don't know whether what we saw was alien life. It could have been an experimental, like, plane or something. But for me, personally, that cements the fact that there is
More
most
going on than we
likely,
know.
intelligent life out there. So
I've seen something before as well. Matt's seen, our other brother, he's seen something, but no, I totally agree with that. Like, I saw something that was totally unexplainable, even if it was, some form of experiment. Then it was highly, highly advanced for what we know about anyway. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you on that part.
I just wish at the time period, mobile phones and cameras and digital cameras are much more accessible, because we definitely would have recorded it, because what we saw is just unexplainable by modern technological stances. Basically, I'll just give it a quick run through, because we've said this story to each other like a bajillion times. But basically what we saw off in the distance was maybe, I don't know, let's say 400 or 500 meters away or something, and we were out in the back of our garden and we saw this glowing orange light, and it was changing from different intensities from like red to white through like the orange spectrum, and it was flashing and it was making this weird ass noise. And the only way I can explain it is, when you're next to a big subwoofer and you can feel it in your chest, the noise wasn't that loud, but you could feel it in your chest, and it was like echoing off the walls, this like weird humming and like almost high pitched at times sort of noise. And it was doing figures of 8 in the sky as fast as you could with your finger or something. And then at the end, when it left, it zipped off, and it went, instead of like flying like parallel to the Earth, it just like sort of zipped off out of orbit, like directly in a straight line, as if gravity just wasn't an issue for it. And then it was out of sight within maybe 2 seconds, and it just went directly up. It like, well, not directly up, but maybe at like, I don't know, 90 degrees or something. It just went straight out of the atmosphere.
Like a sonic boom as well at that point.
Yeah, it was like just super quick, and then just gone within like literally a couple of seconds. I couldn't see even a speck. So, I mean, we
watched it for 10 minutes at least.
I mean, the only thing...
It wasn't for a few seconds.
The only natural phenomena that I've heard that was even close is ball lightning, and to me it doesn't add up, because ball lightning, I've never heard of anyone saying that ball lightning does figures of 8 and makes noise and then zips off into the atmosphere. And there wasn't any thunderstorms, there wasn't any odd weather. It was like a nice, calm, like summer night. So, it was hard to explain by any traditional means. So for me, it had to either have been like a secret plane or helicopter, or some sort of vehicle,
experimental aircraft,
or perhaps alien life of some description. But for me, I would imagine it would be a drone, because that'll probably be the first thing we'll ever come in contact. Because if you think about it, that's probably going to be the first thing that we would ever send to be in contact with an alien race, would be a drone. So why wouldn't it
just send like go on, mate.
Yeah,
short straw, off you go.
Yeah, we're not just going to go, "Oh, Obama, hop on that Virgin Galactic flight and check out them aliens." All right, see you in a bit. So, for me, I think it's almost a given. I think you'd have to be super arrogant to not think that you're the only species alone in the universe. I'd be terrified if that was the case, because we came to the brink of destroying what, as far as we know, is the only life in the universe in the 50s and 60s, didn't we, with the Cuban Missile Crisis, so, and the Cold War and all that. So that is such a weight to have on our shoulders. And as for
we're not really sociable. We're not sociable types, though, are we? We're like the geeky one that hangs out in the kitchen at parties. I'm not sure anyone wants to be friends with us.
I don't think it's that. I think we're more like the poofling. They'll be like, because we're always getting into wars and just stuff like that.
We say we mean the collective we.
Yeah, obviously, but as a species, you probably want to steer clear for a while.
Yeah, you talk to one person and they seem quite rational, but like in groups, we tend to panic, don't we?
Yeah,
when we don't understand something.
It's a shame, because I think it's just going to take a few years for us to work all that stuff out and become more harmonious. But the irony is, if we knew that there was intelligent life out there and we weren't alone, suddenly I feel the human race would band together a lot easier.
To kill everyone else.
Well, not per se to kill everyone else, but the same reasons that we go to war, we'd probably think, oh, maybe we should band together because we have a little bit more in common before we interact with, whatever this other life is. So
I've heard that the religious types don't approve of the thought of life on other planets. They find it quite threatening.
I think it depends. I forget what it's called, but there's two different types. There's those that see the Bible as a metaphor for how to live your life, and then there's those who see the Bible as, I was about to say gospel, but that's a bit too literal, isn't it? They see it as a literal thing, like everything that happened. Adam literally pulled a rib out of his chest, and thanks to God's power or magic or whatever, then brought Eve to life. So they see it as a literal thing. So it depends. The ones who don't see it as a literal thing would just see it as the alien life is also part of God's children.
By God.
Yeah, part of God's children. So I think it depends on how evangelical you are. So as to whether you're part of it, because there's certain people that don't believe in evolution as a thing. So they're not going to believe in. Well, they're not going to deal well with the fact that we could have discovered intelligent life on other planets.
That's it, because the old Bible says that God created man in his image. So what happens when we bump into the oyster people of Nebulon 7?
Yeah, but
it's not going to go well for them, is it?
You could easily, as long as you're not, like I said, evangelical about it, you could easily just be, well, yeah, he invented us in his image. But, for example, if I was creating things, you might do a self-portrait, but another time you might do a piece of fantasy work. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not implausible
you try telling them
you'd look
that.
different. So, yeah, obviously, you're going to struggle with people who are devout and see it as a literal thing. So, but I think it's quite certain that we'll find at least simple life, like germs and bacteria in our own solar system, let alone out in the galaxy. But I think for intelligent life, like I was saying, I think we're just penned off at the moment, and they're going to wait until we've developed, as a civilization before they get in contact. That's what I think it would be. So
it's possible. It's also possible that we're a bit of an embarrassment. With the
I don't think it's an embarrassment. I think you've got to think of it as like how you'd see a tribe in Brazil or something. They might just attack you with spears because they don't understand what's going on.
I don't mean that. We're basically been used as a garbage dump, and we're some life form that's grown out of like the trash, the trash section.
There's
and
that.
They don't really want to talk about us.
There's that theory. I forget what it's called. It's sperm something theory or whatever, where basically we're
a tiny little asteroid with bacteria on it.
Yeah, with waste products from another civilization crashed into the Earth, and then with all the basic, building blocks for life, the amino acids and everything, then life was created from that. That is I'd say theory, but I think they're called
theory,
hypothesis and that. But yeah, so that is one theory.
Are they going to want to be our mates when they find out we're poo people, grown people?
Yeah, but I think the theory is that quite a lot of civilizations would be poo people. Technically.
That's not so bad then. At least we can hang out.
So yeah, I think at least we'll all be poo people together, eh?
Oh,
so,
safety numbers.
It's nice and harmonious. Has anybody else got any thoughts before we move on to the next topic?
I was just going to say, what gets me is how they go on about how, it's impossible for there to be life on other planets because, they haven't got this amount of, like oxygen in their system and all that kind of stuff. But, if we can evolve and progress into, needing lungs to breathe in the oxygen and that sort of thing, why can't they have evolved in a different way?
Oh, they will. It'd be probably quite unlikely that they need the same levels of oxygen and things that we do. They might not even breathe oxygen at all. They could breathe carbon dioxide or something.
Crazy ecosystems that we find on this planet in deep caves and underwater.
Oh, yeah.
That rarely use any oxygen at all.
The life that we might find might not even be carbon based. It could be from a different element in the periodic table. So
yeah, exactly. So that's all. Like, it just when they're so dead set against it, it's impossible because they need X, Y, and Z. Then
yeah, but that's because we've only got one sample to base our theories off, because we only know that of ourselves. We don't even know that bacteria can exist yet out in the universe. For all we know, literally life is only on this planet in an infinite universe. So it's such a small.
That's a scary thought.
Well,
that's like quite
there's
intimidating.
A quote by Arthur C. Clarke, and he says there's two options: we're either alone in the universe or we're not. And either prospect is utterly terrifying.
Yeah,
it's something along those lines. Gosh, both ways is quite scary.
Yeah.
Gosh, what if we are all on our own?
Yeah, well, that is probably more scary, because, I mean, it's cool to a degree if we actually, get out into the universe and then start, we can start developing and putting life out there over, millions of years, keeping an eye on things. But it's to get to that point, we could so easily be like snuffed out, and if we're the only ones, we're that unique.
But if you think of it that way, over a longer period of time, if we do go out and colonise other planets over thousands of years, we would be really, really different. If we were living on other planets, we would change in a big way.
Well, the human race would splinter probably into lots of different groups. People talk in a sense of evolution, but it'd probably be a more of a synthetic evolution. Like, some might evolve with technology via computers and things like that and become like Matrix-esque, and others might evolve with biological technologies to advance there. So
well, I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather be alone in this world than have like a War of the Worlds thing going on. Like, I could not deal with that.
Well, obviously you wouldn't want to have to deal with that, but I'd much rather us not be alone, because it's like I was saying in the other episode, I quite like us to not have all our eggs in one basket and spread out into starting colonising Mars and Venus and is it Europa? I forget, the little ice moon that they think might have life on it and water and things. So. But yeah, I'd like us to spread out and not have all our eggs, because it's such a weight on your shoulders then to be like this unique thing. So yeah,
that we're doing so bad at keeping afloat.
Well, it's a worry, because we've got too intelligent for our own good to some extent. We could easily destroy ourselves several times over by many different means, whether it's pollution or nuclear weapons or viruses or God knows what else, So let's hope we're intelligent enough to, use this technology to make life better, not to fucking destroy ourselves. So. But hey ho. Topic 2. As suggested by Lou, we're going to talk about our thoughts on episodic gaming content, where it works and where it doesn't, and more specifically, what we think of how the new Hitman game has gone episodic and is drip feeding its content to the fans. So, seeing as this was suggested by you, Lou, what are your thoughts more specifically on the Hitman thing? What has annoyed you, or what are your thoughts on it?
Let's see. It's an irritation to me. Now I can see why they do this episodic content. I can see why low budget indie developers might choose to do that. They've got limited budgets, but it's very irritating to me that large companies and big names are doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's what I was trying to lead it down, where it works and where it doesn't. I would agree with you. I think with AAA, it's a lot more dodgy ground, because they're doing it to sort of play around with the business strategies, as opposed to doing it because they think the game benefits from it, or they're, like you were saying, with indie developers on a tight budget, so they sort of have to do this.
Of course.
It's like with indies, it's either if you're having troubles with money, you either crowdsource, which can have its pitfalls, early access, which again can have its pitfalls, or episodic content. So I think sometimes for indies it's a preferable option to the other two. But yeah, as you're saying with AAA,
to me.
you know, with AAA, it's not always as good.
Them,
so what about
the same thing with
Hitman then?
Hitman in particular, and same with Resident Evil Revelations. It bugs me.
Yeah.
It really annoys me. I mean, if they were to put out one episode for people to trial to see if they like a game, that's fair.
Yeah. Like a beta or something, like a beta test.
Sure. That's quite reasonable if it's something a little bit novel and they want to see if people want to do it. I do not want to play a game at their pace, ever.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with it is, for me, Hitman was always one of those things, yeah, sure, maybe you only mess around with like one level for, 2 or 3 hours and that's your gaming session for that day. But then other times you binge through it and you want to do 3 or 4 levels in one go.
Sure.
And because it's got that replay value, you might play through those 4 levels, but then go back later and try different techniques and
sure.
things.
It's something you'd like to do as a second playthrough of a game usually. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not what you want to do the first time. Is play the same level for a month in different ways.
It's because you might be excited to go back on the second playthrough. Whereas if you know that's the only map or maybe 1 or 2 maps you've got for a set amount of months, it's more like, oh well, I've got to go back to get my money's. You feel to get your money's worth or to get invested in this game. You feel like you've got to go back as opposed to wanting to go back. So, and try different things.
I mean, as far as gamers are concerned, I think a lot of them will get bored by this, but I think the reason that the companies are latching onto it is because they will get advertising multiple times over as each episode is brought out, and that's what grabs them. That's what's interesting them.
I think they're taking it like social media and sort of things. If they can constantly stay in the zeitgeist throughout the year, and then at the end of the year have a collector's edition that they really push and their physical copy, they're thinking, oh, we've got the best of all worlds, we can keep bringing that money in. But I've got a feeling that with it only really works for certain sorts of games, and I don't think they're going to end up more profitable doing this than they would have done if they'd have just sold one physical copy all in one go. So, like, games that it does work.
Keep adding DLC to something interesting, but you don't want to like nibble at a game. It's not what most people want. You also hear a lot of things like they usually say they lose a lot of customers early on because big gaps in between. They'll play the first bit, start something else, and forget about it.
For me, it's just one of those things. I personally would just rather play that collector's edition because you take something like Destiny, for example. If you hadn't have played Destiny at the start like we did for year 1, and just bought it at Taken King, like maybe a month after Taken King, so they'd fixed all the bugs, you'd have a much more enjoyable and engaging experience throughout that. All the bullshit will have got fixed. All the weird, crafting and like economies that were all out of whack would have got fixed. And I know this is different to something like Hitman, but it's a similar sort of thing. Like, the game's always better by that collector's edition. It's always improved. It's always the optimal experience. As opposed, I think also part of it is that they were late in development. So if they pushed through a couple of the maps early, they wouldn't have to delay the game for like 6 to 9 months or something, and to do it all in one go. So I think that's another reason.
I don't like this fixes as you go along. I want to buy a finished product.
No.
Would you buy any other product and be happy about them, like tweaking it and improving it as you went along?
Well, that was always the argument about Destiny Year 1, is that you were paying for a beta. That's what people would always say, like snidely as a joke. But to some degree, I mean, we were making it better for the Johnny Come Latelys at the Taken King, and I wish I'd have been a Johnny Come Lately at that point, because if that was the case, who knows, I might still be playing that game now. But as it is, I left that game at year 1, and I have no interest in going back unless this Destiny 2.0 is like, they've really pushed the boundaries and done something different. Because to be fair, the Division and Destiny are, either with the Division it's exactly the game I expected, and with Destiny it's not the game I wished it had have been, because it had so much more potential for me. But Probably getting off topic a little bit there, but
with titles like Hitman, though, what they're also doing is kind of screwing over the truly loyal fans, the people who are, you know, really into a franchise. They are taking advantage of them because they can't help themselves. Like I almost.
Well,
did.
you're going to pay more if you're a hardcore fan of Hitman. You're going to pay more. There's no doubt about it. By the time that collector's edition comes out, and if I decide to get that collector's edition, I'm going to have saved 10, maybe even £15, and get a better experience. There won't be bugs, you know, all the fixes. There might even be extra free content put in there by the time I would come along to it. So for me, it's like, not being a hardcore fan, I'm the one getting the deal, but you know, the hardcore fans are the people who are getting screwed. You know, they're getting less for, you know, more for more of their money. You know,
you're getting 10% of a game, but you're not paying 10% price. You're paying, you know, extra over the odds the whole time. And is it worth it to get it early? I'm in protest. I will not buy it until it comes out fully. I won't.
No.
And I hope that it doesn't work for them, so they stop it.
Yeah, I mean I think part of it is it's owned by Square Enix now, and they made Life is Strange, and that was incredibly successful for them. But that's another point where episodic content and episodic games work, because it's story based, and it can work like that. It can work like a TV show, or you know, something like that. It can work episodically because it's a story based thing. Same with the Telltale games. They work.
I played a bunch of those. I played Game of Thrones, and when I bought it, all of the first 5 episodes were out. And the 6th one didn't come out till something crazy. It was like at least 2 months, if not 3 months later, something like that. Now, I don't think that's what was promised, so it's fair to say that they don't stick to their deadlines or the release dates.
Well, they don't have deadlines. They're quite smart about that, Telltale. They don't put deadline or a release date out, because then they know that people will be going, well, where's this fucking game, and they're rushed for it, and they're spinning so many plates. There were so many games they're working on. So
but by the time the 6th part came out, I couldn't remember the choices I'd made. I couldn't remember what I'd done. I couldn't
that's always
remember
the thing with games,
the story, and all I did was rush through it just to finish it off. So
but I think it can work, and I think they've got a lot better.
But it does kind of work better with those sort of games. But
I think they've got better at that as well. They bring them out quicker. So
if everybody jumps on this bandwagon, then I won't be buying anything until 6 months later, and I hope I'm not the only one.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be good if people send a message, but like saying that hardcore, they're always gonna go for it, but they are getting the short end of the straw. People like me who are I wouldn't say a casual. Like, I used to be really into it back in the PS2, even PS3 era, but people like me who are more casual with it, we're the ones getting the best deal. We're the ones getting all the good stuff with it. It's always the hardcore that gets screwed. It's sort of the same with Final Fantasy to a degree. I feel like they're going more towards trying to find new customers, as opposed to, I mean, you shouldn't entirely go fan service with a game, because that's not always good for the game's longevity and health and whatnot. But I feel like it's trying to chase that new dollar, as opposed to rewarding the hardcore.
Well, I've bought every game that's ever came out, every Final Fantasy game, but it's not going in a direction I like, and I know there's a lot of others.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I think I'm much more optimistic about Final Fantasy, but the battle system, it feels like everything else is going to be awesome. It's going to be the Final Fantasy you want, but the battle system's probably going to be the thing that drops it down for me from like a 9 or maybe even a 10 to like an 8, or at worst like a 7 or something. But I think it's going to be a really good game. But I don't think there's a lot of fan service to it, but it's catering to that new audience they're trying to capture, and like I said, they should do that to a degree. But it's always the hardcore that gets screwed over, really, isn't it? So. But yeah, it's a shame. So anywho, I think that's we've covered quite a lot there. What about you though, V? Have you got any thoughts on episodic content?
I haven't got like a massive amount of experience with them, to be honest, but from gathering from what you guys say about it, I agree with you totally. Like, why the hell would I want to wait like 2 months for a new chapter to a game? Like, you know, some people don't have a lot of time to kind of like sit and binge, but when they do get that like that opening, they want to just smash through it because they've got it that little time. They want to like take a full advantage. Or, you know, when I found like a proper gem of a game, you know, I can't help but go, oh, I can't wait to go play that game later. I can't wait, but they can't do that because they've got to wait so long. So
I think it's like Louise was saying. If you can find points in that series where there's apathy and you can't be bothered to go back to it. It's like, you know, you're not, because you're not in that hype anymore.
With the games.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I mean, I think it's also a thing of convenience because, you know, sometimes I don't really feel like playing games for like a 4 or 5 days even, and then other times I want to, you know, play 8 solid hours of a game or more. So not having that option would kind of annoy me to a degree. But like I said, it depends on the game. I think I can be more forgiving with this sort of story-based Telltale stuff. And I think with some games, some indie games that are more experimental, again, there might be more of an interest to go back to.
Yeah, you can understand where they're coming from, and like even you know with the big shots, you can see why they're doing it, but it doesn't make it okay. Like if they're just doing it for like a money thing, then like I mean I know they've got a company to run and stuff, but it still sucks massively for the people that are like that really want like you said the die-hard fans and stuff. It's kind of taking the piss out of their like loyalty almost. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not a fan of it.
If the game's designed from the ground up to be episodic, like a lot of the Telltale and Life is Strange, they were built from the ground up to be episodic. Whereas AAA games that are chopped up to be episodic, that's often where it fails. You know, they need to be built from the ground up as that's how we want to do it. I don't feel Hitman was that. I feel that Hitman was chopped up to be drip fed as a money or an experimentation thing, or because they were late with their development, not as opposed to it suited the game. It's what's best for the game. It's what's best for the gamer. And if they make even more money off the top of that, who gives a fuck? No one's going to complain. But if at the end of the day, if the consumer's the one's getting screwed, and and it's the company making more money, people aren't going to be pleased, and it's going to hurt the franchise as a whole going forward.
Well, yeah, you know what you're getting yourself into. You know that, all right, this is a game that looks good, but I'm going to have to wait for it, And then when the next one comes out, I know I'm going to have to wait for it, and the next one. But when you've been, like, for instance, how you were saying, like, even like Hitman and stuff like that, you've had the games where, like, you've been able to binge it and go, whatever, but then all of a sudden it's like, hang on a minute, like, this ain't fair.
Suddenly the rug's pulled from under you.
Yeah.
It's like
shady.
But the thing is, if there's only one thing you can say about it, and it's this: if you hate it, don't buy it, because it will carry on if you find it. It's simple.
If you put your money, if people
protest
put their money
with your money.
Yeah, put your money where your mouth is. Suddenly they'll change their tune and realise in the future not to do these sorts of things. And like I'm saying, I don't want to see games that aren't designed to be chopped up into pieces for whatever reason. But if they're designed from the ground up to be that way, I'm much more cool with it, because it's probably going to make more sense. And the way that it's delivered and the way that you play it, it will be it will be much more sensible, and you'll have your reasons to go back and play it, as opposed to perhaps getting disinterested halfway through. So
yeah. Well, who's going to wait like when he was saying, who's going to wait like 1, 2, 3 months before playing a new game? They're not going to wait for it. Like, I'm the same with books. I can't multitask for books. And it's the same for games. You get it all confused, and you want to pay attention to one storyline. So who's going to wait that long before playing the game?
With all the games,
they're going to lose out in that way.
With all the games that come out these days, there's a new game every week or couple of weeks. It's like you're saying, multitasking. You're suddenly going to be like, well, the new Destiny update comes out, or this Doom's come out, or there's a beta next week, or suddenly your interest, you're not as hyped for that anymore. You run off the hype train, and like I said, you become disinterested. So it's always a risk,
I don't know about you guys as well, but if I leave a game for a long time, I get real rusty with the buttons.
Yeah. It depends what sort of game.
Your level goes down.
You're always like, where the fuck am I? What was I doing?
Yeah, I do that even after, like, if I've not played for a day or two. I'm like, oh god, what the hell was I just doing?
I wouldn't say
like,
that bad,
you know,
but a couple of weeks and
like,
I can run into trouble.
Right. But no, it's a good point. Do you know what I mean? You're kind of like, oh, where was I? Or if you get stuck in a place or something like that, it's the same effect, really, isn't it? But yeah, no, not a fan at all.
Last topic. In this segment, I thought we'd end with a little would you rather game. So I'm going to hit you up with a few would you rather scenarios that put you in a tight spot, and then we'll discuss the ludicrous events of such scenarios. Okay, so let's go with the first one. Just switch to my other documents to read. Right, so the first one is, would you rather never eat chocolate again or legally change your last name to Hitler and not be able to change it back? So, chocolate or Hitler?
Is that all chocolate or just things?
Yeah.
What about chocolate flavoured things like ice cream?
I think that's... Well, I'll give you a pass if it does. It's one of those things that doesn't taste like chocolate. You know how when you taste like strawberry ice cream, it doesn't actually taste like strawberries? So I'll give you a pass on that. But anything that actually tastes like chocolate is out of the running, even if it's synthetic. It's not actually chocolate.
That means you can never have chocolate cake again.
Yeah. No chocolate cake, no Cadbury's.
I'd go for Hitler.
No cream eggs.
Straight up.
Yeah, I think I'd go Hitler as well, because you can always just be like, it's not my fault, dude. I was born
that way.
To fucking that lineage. So, you know, wasn't a choice, right?
Yeah, I'd quite happily go for Hitler. Like, I
wouldn't shave my fucking facial hair to have a little fucking dodgy tash.
Yeah, it's not like I'm gonna walk around with like a frigging side sweeped hair or anything, is it? Not on top of it, and you know, start shouting.
It'd just be one of those. You'd be the butt of the joke, and you get a lot of banter for it, and you get a lot of odd looks at like doctor's appointments. But aside from that,
saying that, you know, that's only legal documents.
For 99.9% of your life, it's not going to be an issue. Whereas chocolate, that's going to crop up way more often than
I can't go
being
like a couple of days without chocolate. So, like,
yeah,
I'd give me Hitler.
Yeah, I'd go Hitler. What about you, Lou? Chocolate or Hitler?
The same. I think you could live with it. It's not the most tasteful thing, but like Eddie Hitler in bottom, you wore it well.
Yeah, exactly. You just gotta, you know, have a bit of swag with it, and you'll be all right. Roll with a bit of swagger.
Never thought I'd hear Hitler and swag in the same line.
Is Hitler all round? Right, let's schnell on to the next topic then, shall we? Right. Would you rather... Not next topic. Would you rather... You know what I'm saying. Would you rather save the life of a starving African child you'll never meet, or have a real working lightsaber? Choices. Thoughts then, people?
This is kind of escalating a little bit.
Oh dear. There shouldn't be a dilemma there, should there?
There's going to be difficult questions.
As bad as it sounds, I'm going to say this. I'll save the starving, dying child. Like, not mainly, but one of the underlying reasons is because you guys know me, and I'm going to take off my own arm or something with that. You know what's going to happen.
that is true.
So, yeah.
Oh, God. I'd save the kid, but I'd be bitter about it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
You'd find out who he is just to send him hate mail or whatever. Be like, I saved your life, but I resent you for it. My thoughts is this goes two ways. Yeah, it's either like obviously my first instinct is to save the starving African child, but what if that lightsaber had technologies that could push forward the human race and save that countless thousands of lives going forward? So it's kind of a balancing act. But off the top of my head,
what if that kid then turned out?
Isn't it kind of an instrument of death? I'm not sure.
Yeah, true. But think about the technology inside of it, that energy source, the amount of power it must be given out. It can cut through steel metal, and all in the size of a flashlight tube. you know, energy-wise, it could solve the world's energy problems, and then that could.
I don't think it works like that.
Translate
According to
into
Star
something.
Wars law, I think it's some kind of crystal. Anybody can use it, but only if you've got lots of midichlorians can you use it well.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter whether you use it well, because if you implement it into a different sort of technology, then maybe, you know. But I would pick the saving the starving African child, because A, because you'd have to live with your choices if you pick the lightsaber, and B, I'm not 100% sure that the lightsaber would have any other real world applications like you're saying. So on those two bases, I would go with the African child. But like you're saying, I'd be so bitter. So bitter.
Who would you fight with if you only had one as well?
I wouldn't need to fight anyone. I'd just go around cutting stuff. Everything. I'd cut everything with it. I'm gonna have a sandwich. I'm gonna have a sandwich. I'll get an old-fashioned loaf that's not sliced. I'm gonna cut my own. Toast. You could instantly toast. Toast.
I don't think you get toast.
I think you'd get like a massive, like half of the loaf, like in. Yeah, exactly. It's not like a piece of paper, Nathan. It's like
you'd have holes in all your counters and stuff, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Burn marks all around your house, but it'd be fucking worth it.
Maybe marshmallows, but not toast. Toasted marshmallows would work.
It'd be good stuff. All right, let's do another. Would you rather live in a world where there is peace and order, or live in a world where you rule? So there is no question asked. You rule the world. It's completely your choice what happens, or a world where there is peace and order.
I don't think that's a hard one. I don't think I'm cut out for that.
Yeah, but you don't have to deal with the nitty gritty. You could be like a queen.
You can do whatever you want.
Chill. You could just chill, and you'd be like, you're prime minister. You figure all that out, all that clever shit, but you do what I tell you. So you could have it like that.
I'd probably end up with, even if I did have someone to do my bidding, I'd probably end up have like some massive, like, I don't know, revolution against me for doing stupid stuff. That's pretty much my answer for everything, is just to, you know.
Yeah, I'm not cool
so
with it. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, but part of the thing is you won't ever be overrun. You see, it can go two ways though, because if you ruled the world, you could set a precedent and make it so there is peace and order. So if you were, you know, skilled or whatever enough, you could have both.
You're not just ruling one country, so there's not other countries that could oppose against you. So if you ran the whole world, you could say, hang on, mate, like, you know, get yourself in order.
It probably would cut out war to a degree, but there could still be rebellions per se, even though you could never be overthrown. It could never get to such a degree. I suppose there could still be terrorism, as it would be classified or whatever.
Yeah, but you've ruled the world, so
I don't think so.
I'm going to change my answer.
I think again, I'd have to. I kind of want to rule the world, being a megalomaniac. I really want to, but I think I'd have to pick peace and order and then be bitter again, because I'm not convinced that I could do it.
I'm going to rule the world, and I'm going to gloat.
Oh dear.
And if I'm ruling the world, Nathan, you're in so much trouble.
I'll be part of the freedom fighter organisation. Even if we can never overthrow you, we'll still be there. You know.
We'll take you out.
What?
See,
I thought you had my back.
I've already got one to my cause, so.
I have got your back, but it's got a dagger in it.
What? Mark, do you know what?
It's cold as ice. See, and it only took it took me like 10 seconds to get my first person to join my cause, and she's already stabbed you in the back.
All right, let's play a would you rather.
You're
Louise.
in trouble.
Would you rather live with me for a week or live with Nathan for a week?
I've lived with both of you for way too long.
In a confined space.
What, in an elevator? Trapped in an elevator with one of you?
All right then. Yeah, who would you rather be trapped in an elevator with?
Nathan would find a way out.
Oh, this is not
that's
fair.
true. Plus, I got cool.
Oh, plus,
I've got games on my phone as well.
If I was with you, I'd have to eat you because you probably taste like chocolate. You just said you can't go 2 days without it.
That's a fair point.
Hang
on, wait. Did you choose? What did you choose though? You chose Hitler. All right, you can have her if she tastes like chocolate. if you'd have chose chocolate, you couldn't eat her. You know.
No, I choose Hitler. She chose chocolate, so ha. You
Well,
can't eat
if
them.
she tastes like chocolate, you can't eat her.
Yeah.
If she actually tastes like chocolate.
But if I
then it
taste like
will-
artificial chocolate,
Oh,
then
yeah.
that's okay.
That's all right. Yeah.
I'll eat her anyway.
So
She'll be delicious.
Yep.
And then
Right.
I'll string bones together to make a rope ladder to get out of the elevator shaft.
You are cutthroat. Like,
Yeah, cold as ice.
do you have no shame?
Moving along.
Right.
Moving along.
Yeah.
Right. You'll like this next one anyway. Would you rather live in the Harry Potter universe but have the same social standing as now, therefore your magical equivalent, or be a billionaire with unparalleled social standing and all the trappings, and if you choose to do good with it, all the good that could come from that? So what would you rather have? You would basically be like, you know...
What do we equate to in the Harry Potter world?
Well, I don't know. What is the average... I'm not... You two are more into Harry Potter than I am. So what's the average person like in Harry Potter? That's what you'd be. You wouldn't be some fucking...
People. They're still muggles.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd
do
imagine...
you mean like in like, you know, as in like you
In Wizard Society.
yeah, Wizard
Imagine-
Society.
Imagine the Harry Potter magic is... We live in that dimension or whatever where...
No muggles.
You know, where magic... We're not muggles, or we live in that reality.
Yeah.
But it's us as we are now in that reality with whatever our skill set is now comparable. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we're living our everyday lives just with magic around us.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, I need to make some toast. Zing.
Well, I don't know if it is like that, but yeah, for the average person. But yeah, if it is like that,
I think
you know,
basically
exactly like that.
we'd all be like the equivalent of Neville Longbottom.
That is lame.
Yeah.
That's a great.
But
Well, you might not even be that good. If you're saying there's a lot of people who aren't wizards per se, you might be like Hagrid, who isn't a wizard, but you know, he knows he's got a wand and he knows a few tricks of the trade and whatnot. So, you know, what would you rather be in that universe as an average, you know, an average person, or the king of the regular world? Not literally, but you know
I'll
what I mean.
take all the money.
Captain of industry, all
And
that sort of
I'll
stuff.
just move into the Harry Potter world, in Universal Studios, and like
Yeah, but
get
I,
actors to behave that way.
oh yeah, you could do that.
I like Lou's idea. That's fantastic. That'd be so lame if like literally all I could use my magic.
Just live
was
in your own
making
delusion.
toast or like hoovering or something. Like if I'm in
I
the
don't
Harry
need to
Potter
worry
world-
about that. I've got the lightsaber.
No, you chose against the lightsaber.
I know.
No lightsaber for you.
Damn that African child. Oh.
The hate has started already.
No, it's not hate. It's just mild resent.
Just mild.
So what would you pick then, Harry Potter or billionaire?
I'll take the money.
I think on Lee's principle,
V?
I'd probably take the money. How like if I'm in the Harry Potter?
How weird is this? I picked the Harry Potter universe. The two bigger Harry Potter fans take the money in the social standing, and I'd rather live in the magical world. How
Yeah, but think how
ironic
like,
is that?
All right, let's spin it a different way then. I know we've got a lot in the real world to like deal with fear-wise, but can you imagine having Voldemort in your world? No thanks.
He's still in this world. It's just you don't know about him.
That's
I mean, you
fine.
can say ignorance is bliss,
It's fine.
but you know,
I-
your billions won't help if Voldemort comes to try and fucking steal your soul or
Well, they're
whatever.
not going to help
will.
before I can do with my magic is make toast. Either way, I lose.
That's a good point. You wouldn't just be able to make toast. I don't know. What's the average person like in that universe?
Just like anyone, just middle class.
Surely
just
they've
with
got a few
friggin'
tricks. They can at least. Surely they can at least Wingardium Leviosa.
wand. Leviosa, not Leviosa. Yeah, I guess, but like you don't really see a lot of like the middle class muggles or whatever wizards in Harry Potter. You see like obviously like Ron's family, which is like lower class.
I mean,
but
you'd have to think
they've got
Hogwarts
connections,
is
so they're
basically.
kick-ass.
Hogwarts would be like Eton or one of these, you know, swanky private schools. Really, we wouldn't have gone to Hogwarts because we're just like the average Joe Schmo. So
Yeah, no, 'cause it's the only, isn't it? It's the only school, isn't it? Hogwarts is. There's no like.
No, there's
Like-
several.
Oh, is there? Oh, yeah, of
Hogwarts
course,
is the
because
only
one in
there
Britain.
is. Of course there is.
don't they have that tri-wizards thing where all
Yeah,
the schools
yeah.
come together? And...
Yeah.
I thought you two were big in. I know more about Harry
been a
Potter than
while,
you fucking
right?
do.
Well,
So-
Voldemort's like mother and her family were the equivalent of wizard hillbillies.
Was it?
Yeah, which is not so great.
Oh right, I thought he came from lineage.
No,
No wonder why
no.
he's so bitter.
So like they're complete tramps. So yeah, it may not go so well. Whereas you're talking about being a billionaire.
Yeah, it's not just a billionaire. You've got unparalleled social standing as well. So
I guess because we know like a little bit more and stuff. Like we, as much as we see the good side, we also see like the bad side. Whereas you're just all like fame and let's be a wizard. You're a wizard, Nathan.
I don't care about that. I'm more interested in the magic. Like I said, I wouldn't probably have got sent to Hogwarts, so I'd be at some some state school, wouldn't I? We didn't have swanky education, so I wouldn't have gone to Hogwarts. So.
But no, saying that though, if Ron Weasley can afford to go to like Hogwarts, then you'd be able to.
Yeah, but there's those schools that have what are they called?
Oh yeah. Like
where you don't have to be rich, but they've got
like a scheme,
can't
haven't
think
they?
of
Like where they
Yeah.
someone kind of scholarship, yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
maybe.
So maybe he got in on one of. Oh, his dad knows people, don't he? He's in what's it? Not institute, whatever the fuck it's
Ministry.
called.
Ministry of
Yeah.
Magic.
He knows people. He just greased a few elbows or whatever the saying is. So.
Creased a few elbows.
Elbows?
Is this like your clever boots, Nathan?
I think it is. Yeah. What? Is
Are we
it?
getting one a week now?
Yeah, one a week. It's a weekly
greasy
quota.
elbows.
Oh, greasy elbows and clever boots over there. All right, on to the next one then. Would you rather live through either the zombie apocalypse or through nuclear fallout? But I'm going to get fucking lambasted. I always say that wrong. Nuclear, because I always say nuclear, but it's pronounced nuclear. Anyway, would you rather go through nuclear fallout, surviving within a stronghold capable of withstanding either? So you're in a stronghold, you can either withstand the nuclear fallout or the zombie apocalypse. You might have to still do runs and things to live in that world, but you're in a stronghold.
I will take the zombies because if you watch any zombie like series or anything like that, especially like The Walking Dead, you always know that it's the bastard humans that are the problems. So if you're going on a run, I'd take on a zombie rather than taking on a human, and there's going to be a lot more humans to deal with.
Also,
Yeah.
I play too much Fallout, and it generally goes wrong. There's a strong chance you'll mutate into something nasty.
It always goes terrible. I don't think radiation really works like that, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It do, I've seen The Road, which is
The most
depiction
depressing
of
move ever.
The Road is the most depressing. I was talking about this
and that's
just a
based
moment
on
ago. There's no
based on
film
nuclear
more
fallout.
depressing.
It's based on winter. What's it called? Nuclear winter.
Yeah.
So that would be a thing, and that world looks incredibly
Bleak.
fucking, like you're saying, depressing and bleak. So
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You always like in the movies and stuff like that. They've got all that kind of stuff going on. It's always depressing. There's never any hope. But at least in, you know, the zombie world, like there's a lot of hope and rebuilding civilization and.
I'm not
people
sure there's
rising up and
hope.
stuff. Well, there
but
is a little
it's much
bit.
cooler.
The world itself
only
isn't
film-
damaged. It'd probably be better off.
You can still grow like like
The only
food and
film
clean water.
I can think of that does nuclear fallout in a more I don't know, livable way is the Book of Eli. In that it's bad, but it's not as dreadful as something like The Road. There are still people living in that world and getting by day to day.
Look how horrible them people are though.
Yeah,
Look what civilizations are built.
you'd get that in the zombie apocalypse as well, though. To be fair.
Yeah, of course, but there'd be less of them to deal with because one stab to the head and you're dead. Like the zombies are dead. Where if a zombie
there'll
gets
be a
you,
lot of zombies.
yeah, if a zombie at the end of the day, if a zombie gets you, then alright, it might be quite gruesome and graphic, like when they get you, or you'll turn into a zombie and you ain't got a clue what's going on. But if you get like held by like a big gang of I don't know, burly men and stuff, it's but not gonna be very fun, is it?
Yeah, I think for me, I would pick the zombie apocalypse because they're both going to be terrible in practical terms. I mean, we like we've said before, you always have a pie in the sky or see things through rose-tinted glasses. But I think the good moments that you'd have, those like moments of epic win in, a nuclear fallout scenario are, few and far between. Whereas at least you can have fun in the zombie apocalypse at times, like raiding gun shops, like in Dawn of the Dead. That's going to be fucking hella cool. Going through some fucking old, shopping centre or whatever. Just raiding all the cool shit. Even bashing in zombies' brains, for a little bit. That's going to be mildly amusing.
I think we're unanimous on that one.
What about it's fun to cave in zombies' heads? Did you
You're gonna
kill small animals as children?
They're not alive though. You're doing them a mercy. If I was a zombie, I'd rather you kill me than leave me to fucking roam the earth any day.
There's been no experiments on zombies or anything really, has there? What if zombies aren't dead? What if zombies have some weird? Because they go into it, and I can't remember what it was in.
Unless the world holds on a lot better than it does in the films, you're never going to have the potential to find out because you're never going to have the resources or the capabilities. So you have to go on a survival mentality as opposed to what if and maybe. If you had those resources, then maybe you could, be a little bit more softly. But up until that point, you got to cave some fucking zombie skulls. It's just the way it's got to go. So.
Yeah.
And you may as well enjoy your work, So,
You're really starting to worry me. Evil laugh.
I didn't pick to rule the world, you did, so I don't know what you're fucking on about.
Yeah, for human races. This is probably not the best choice for human race, really. But I'll have fun.
Mrs. Hitler's gonna rule the world.
Yeah.
With lots of chocolate. It's fine.
And a lightsaber.
I didn't choose the lightsaber, did I? No, I didn't.
Oh, and an African sidekick.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, I've got a beautiful little world building up around me.
Exactly.
You're just jealous.
A beautiful little zombie world.
Yes, with chocolate and starving. Well, they won't be starving at African children because they'll be diabetic
chocolate
instead.
Well, one of them won't be. Anyway.
I'm not just going to feed that one child and let everyone else
that one and kill all the others.
You might do, Hitler is your last name, so,
whatever.
Might be a bit of a psychopath. Right, let's do another one then. Would you rather be able to change the size of an object without changing its weight, or vice versa, change the weight of an object but the size stays the same? So, I'd imagine there's a bit of confusion there. So, basically, let's say you've got a pebble. You can either change the size of it to whatever size you want and the weight will stay the same, or you can take any object, and change the weight of it. So you could take a 2-ton truck and make it weigh 2 grams and pick it up with your hand. Or, anyone could. Or you could take a pebble and make it as big as a boulder, but it would weigh the same. Or you could take a bit of food and make it really big. So maybe then you could feed feed people who haven't got anything to eat or whatever. So
choose.
But why to any of it?
Why
a
not?
superpower. A superpower happened. It's a new super movie. Wait, man.
I'd choose the one where you can change the weight without changing the size.
Yeah.
Because you've got if stuff's heavy, you can just move around. I'm lazy, so that'd be perfect for me. And then you could prank people massively. They're on the phone or they've got something in the pocket. Change that, and then they just crumpled on the floor. It's great.
It'd be quite fun leaving 50-ton pound coins all over the floor as well.
Yeah, the people would never be able to pick up. So.
Or pranking. I think that'd be quite good.
I think for me, I'd pick the weight one as well, because I was thinking, how cool a superpower would it be? If anyone ever messed with you, you could carry like a baseball or something in your pocket. It doesn't weigh anything, but if anyone ever gave you any beef, you just throw it at them, and just before you let it go from your hand, you change the weight to 5 kilograms or something, and it just sparks them out. So it'd be like a super cool power. And maybe you could change other things, if you could change the weight of yourself at will.
I was just gonna say that.
Maybe you could jump really far or
that's what.
float
That's
for
literally
a bit
what
or
I was just
something.
gonna say. You could I don't know. Maybe you could then like make some weird contraption.
I mean, they're both superpowers to a
fly.
degree. Because
If
you could take a matchstick and grow it so it grows and just sparks someone out because it grows so fast or whatever. But I think I'd rather go with a weight one personally.
Yeah, you could, if you're clever enough, you could like, you know, make some wings of sorts, because that's like, you know, how birds go, isn't it? Because their bones are so like light, and that's how they can take wind and that. So you could theoretically
they can take wind. Just the way you said that.
How
it's
are
not
you-
just that. It's their
why are you so
aerodynamics and their muscle density and their feathers and all that
exactly,
sort of stuff.
but
so.
it doesn't matter, does it? Because
You
can
could
change
just
that.
float. Yeah, you could be lighter than air, so you could just float
Yeah.
away,
It's
or
like
you
them
could
guy-
jump and then.
What are
do
they
it.
called? Is it base jumpers, where they've got like the jump really high and they've got the flying squirrel suits?
You'd have to be really careful with it though, because if you mistimed it when you came down to land, you break both your legs. So you would have to be super careful with it, because you're not a superhero.
Not if you
you're
changed
not
them to be
physically
really heavy.
stronger.
If you change it, surely. Oh no, that's done.
It
If you
might.
change them-
Wow, we haven't
See what I
specified.
mean?
It could change the density, yeah, to a degree. I mean,
So if it did work that way, you just make them really heavy again. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is gonna work. Boom.
well, we didn't specify it with
break
that,
the
but
floor.
Yeah, I'd pick that. What about you, Lou? What would you pick?
I'm kind of indifferent on the whole subject.
I know it's a bit of a weird one, but these are all these would you rathers are a bit hard, aren't they? So it's just for the lols.
Yeah.
No, I just think they both sound lame. I'm not really interested, I think.
Or you could be like, if you, I don't know, like, could change the size of stuff, then if there's like a broken dam or something, and I don't know, I'm just trying to think of a more, you know.
Well, you could just
Selfless.
get a bit of concrete and make it as big as you wanted. It would have
Yeah, exactly.
potential. I mean, like I was saying with food, maybe it would be better to do that because you could feed everybody who's starving.
Yeah.
Or
So the weightless would
gold.
be more like
What about
selfish.
gold?
Yeah,
It'd be really weird
okay,
though,
that-
because you pass over this gold bar and they'd be like, "Well, this doesn't weigh very much." So that would be
Boo.
that'd be
Ask
weird.
yourself, if something is loads larger but weighs the same, are you just spreading out its molecules more?
Yeah.
Have you
There's-
actually got more gold?
Yeah, so that would be weird because everybody'd be like, "Oh, your gold probably wouldn't be classified as real gold. It'd be like a new version of fool's gold." So it probably wouldn't be valuable per se.
It's all
So
the small print, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not specified in these would you rathers I looked up online. So you know. All right, let's do one more then. Would you rather be attacked by 2 full-grown lions, only with a large knife to defend yourself, or 70 domestic cats and your only weapon is a very vaguely pointy stick? Go.
Do you have any kind of ignition on you?
You mean like a
Is it
lighter
lower?
or something? Well, do you normally? If you normally carry one, then yes, that's allowed. If you don't, then no, I don't. So no, I wouldn't.
Downside to quitting smoking all them years ago.
Yeah.
Follow.
It's pretty much the same question as T-Rex versus Velociraptors, isn't it? I'll take the T-Rex.
Yeah, I
Oh
was
no,
thinking that.
I'd say that one's way more
large
sensible.
ones.
It'd be much easier to hide from a T-Rex, and they're not supposed to run that fast. I think a Velociraptor can outrun them. So
In all fairness,
It's
we
the
are talking
same
about
thing.
lions.
yeah, two
They're a bit
lions.
faster.
You've got a large knife, like let's say something in between, like a Bowie knife and a machete. So it's pretty big. So you could definitely.
You might be able to work out patterns because, like, they are obviously lions work together, don't they? So you might be able to establish their body language or their, if you know, or something like that. Whereas cat,
Yeah.
have you been scratched by a cat or bit like that? It hurts.
Well, maybe you don't have to fight them, but you would be constantly chased by them and stuff. So maybe you could
you've
run
gotta-
away and climb up
you've
a
gotta think
tree.
about it this way
It's
as
like
well.
how you want to do it tactically. It's up to you.
If you got killed by the lions, it would be relatively quick. Whereas it could take a full hour for some of these small cats to kill you.
Yeah, but think about the news, the headline: person killed by 2 full-grown lions. Oh, that's pretty juicy. But what about a person killed by 70 domestic cats? That'll be all over the world. So you know your
I'm not-
epitaph.
I'm not bothered about my legacy. I'll take the lions, definitely.
I'd take the lions for that reason as well, because they'd be like, do you know what? Good on her for putting up a fight. whereas some muppet got eaten by cats, like domestic
really
cats.
happens.
Here's the deal though. I don't think I'd have any chance to be able to take on 2 full-grown lions. I'm pretty certain they'd fuck me up and kill me. However, I reckon I could take 70 domestic cats. I mean, I'm going to get fucked up and I'll need to be in hospital. But I reckon I could take.
I don't think you could.
I could take 70 cats with a sharp stick. Yeah.
70.
Yeah, but think about it. With a sharp stick, I can go boom, boom. I can probably get 1 dead or mortally wounded every 2 strikes.
Yeah, but if they all rush you, I think it's game over.
Yeah, but it's kind of tactical as well. Like, it's the same thing. Maybe it depends where you are, but maybe you could climb a tree and then kill off a couple at a time.
It depends on your environment. If you're
you're not per se. It says you're attacked. It doesn't say where you're fighting them per se or what tactics. You don't have to per se engage with them in a battle. Maybe you could just run or. But they're going to be constantly chasing you. It's like horde mode in a game. They're going to be after you. So you have to, choose.
I'd definitely take lions then, especially if it's male lions, because they're really lazy. So they'd give up.
Maybe.
Start, I reckon.
Plus, we pick the lions so we can have one each.
Yeah, we could tame them.
Tame them?
Yeah, to be well, maybe not tame
Good
them,
luck
but
with
like
that.
at least come to like a mutual understanding where like he doesn't eat me.
This isn't the Jungle Book or Far Cry Primal,
Where's the small print saying it isn't, mate?
Well,
I don't see it. So
this is vaguely. This one's vaguely based in our reality, so
I still don't see it in small print.
Unless you can commune. Can you commune with animals as of now?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried? She might be able to.
Well,
yeah, and why would I tell you if I could?
If there's any time to try,
you'd exploit me.
I don't know.
If you got money out of it, you wouldn't exploit me.
No, Hitlers don't do such things. I'll have you know. How dare you? Yeah. So I'd pick the cats. I reckon I could take 70 cats. Like I'm saying, I'd be messed up, but I reckon I could take it. Wow, that's this week's ReconCast done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed our shenanigans and tomfoolery. And feel free to join in with our nonsense by posting your ideas for topic 3 in the comments. And as well as a name check, your topic could feature in an upcoming episode. Anywho, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe for more BS of a similar nature. Thank you and goodbye.